How does that go? That looks pretty good. I got to go back to here and hit go live. There we go. Live on Instagram, live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Let's see. Let's pull this down here, shall we? Welcome, everybody loves Raymond 360. Let me see. Let me turn this mic up. I just have a gut feeling that might be better for people. All right. Hello, everybody. Tom Caltabiano here. That is a long last name. You will notice it in the credits. And now I can translate it or give you the pronunciation. Because it is always embarrassing when you have to try and guess what it is, the pronunciation. Hello, let's say hello to a bunch of people around the country. Here we go. Let's see. Hello, yes. Hello, Bobby. Hello, Bobby S. A different Bobby S. That's interesting. Hello, Fly Lady. Now, Fly Lady, what did you send me? You had a question for me, and I already can't remember it because I've answered so many questions, etc. But a question that came up because of my last post. I just want to, for all of these people around, hello, aloha, Bobby S. Hi, Kim. Susan Stompanato. If ever that name rings a bell because we shipped a fork and spoon magnet, which I will get my hands on before we're done today. And I want to, by the way, I just spotted this on my desk of many, many things. We have been looking at old footage from Everybody Loves Raymond. And I found some footage of Raymond, who was the star of Everybody Loves Raymond, talking to George Clooney, who was playing basketball next to our stage. So for everybody who has seen some of the maps that I've posted, let me see if I can find one. ER was on stage 11. That big pause that looked like I was trying not to sneeze. That was me trying to think of the number of stage that ER was on. ER was a giant hit. We were stage 5 around the corner. And George Clooney at that point, he was a giant star, but he wasn't the giant movie star that he is today. And he did a show called Baby Talk. And he was fired from a show called Baby Talk. Or written out, or whatever you do back then. But Phil Rosenthal was a writer on Baby Talk. If you look up that sitcom, now I may have mentioned this in the past, but for those of you that are a new audience, it's a very hard business, the television business, and George Clooney was not having a lot of success. He was getting on air, he was doing parts, but he was not working steadily. And when I say this next thing, which Phil Rosenthal can recount, they wrote him out of the show, and the showrunner, the head guy, what Phil Rosenthal was on Everybody Loves Raymond, the head showrunner on Baby Talk said, basically, I'll clean it up, screw him, let him do pilots for the rest of his life. Now, George ended up becoming a giant movie star, but he was unhappy on the show. So he complained a lot, I think, about maybe the quality of the scripts or something, and Phil can give more information about that. But Phil knew George Clooney. So, and George Clooney when he was down, when he was nothing, when he was trying to make a living. And so we would every once in a while be driving in our golf cart, and which was on Warner Brothers stage, Warner Brothers lot. They had golf carts, made it much, much easier to get around because you didn't have to find a parking space on this big movie lot. And we'd be in a golf cart, and all of a sudden George Clooney, heartthrob that he was, would go, "Hey, Phil," and wave Phil over, and Phil would stop, and you would be talking, and George was exceptionally nice. And what I didn't know at the time was that George was really, really a good guy and really nice to the crew. The chance for us to film with George Clooney came about twice. Once, Ray was doing an anniversary show or a Christmas video or something for the comic strip in New York. Now, really, Ray's, I don't want to say home club, but the original Improv was really where Ray's heart was. But he did all the clubs in New York City. And the comic strip, I must have been season 2 of Raymond or season 3 of Raymond. And I just found this footage yesterday of us pulling up in a golf cart, and there's George standing at his basketball hoop. So he had an outdoor basketball backboard and basket, and he would just play basketball. So you, in 1997 or 8, if you were on the Warner Brothers lot, you could drive by and see George Clooney out there just shooting hoops. So in this one that I found yesterday, and I have another one that I haven't found yet, George is recounting his days at the comic strip and basically making fun of people. But it's so bizarre to see such a young George Clooney and such a young Ray Romano sitting there goofing around. And I also found footage. I'm breaking a rule, which is like telling people about things that they can't see yet, because I am now digitizing hopefully as much as we can. However, there are 200 tapes. Let me see. Do I have one here? Here's one. Okay, wait a minute. There's this. What does this one say? ELR audience reaction to Car coming through. So in this little thing is a mini DV. Okay, let's do that. ELR audience reaction Car coming through. So we all know that is from episode 100 wallpaper. So that is what? A 60-minute, 90-minute tape. So who knows what is on there? But what I found is so much gold behind the scenes, and we are in the process of digitizing, which means you can't see this because I have to play it on a thing that only has an analog output, which is not good for computers. By the way, this, I don't want to get distracted, but this, I ran into the president of Kodak something, a portion of Kodak, Motion Picture and Entertainment. His card is a piece of film. Isn't that clever? And since we shot all of the Everett Raymond episodes on film, I'm assuming it was Kodak film. Hopefully we can do some type of tie there in some promotional aspect. Okay, Clooney. So the other thing that we did a gag reel every year pretty much. And we had George Clooney. Ray did this thing. I'm describing it to you because I have to find it and see if we can show it. Again, for those just joining, Tom Caltabiano here, writer on Everett Raymond, for the people that are saying, I don't recognize that guy. I'm talking about the ER stage was very close to the Everett Raymond stage. We were on stage 5. He was on stage. They were on stage. I want to say it was 11. And 10 was next to us. Yes. Let me see if I can find my Warner Brothers map. I can hold it up for you. So in this other gag reel, okay, I'm going to search my thing. Oh, wow. This is so bizarre. I literally just found a picture. Is this listening to me? A picture of the president of right there with me. That's bizarre. That just came up. How it must have seen the information. This is very bizarre, folks, because it pulled up 50 photos from that day when I met the president or the head of motion picture, whatever, for Kodak. Okay. So the other gag reel, which is a very funny one where I still didn't know how nice George was. George Clooney is playing basketball, and there's an alleyway between our stage and his stage next to us. Now, keep in mind, folks, from the outside, if you're not in the world of Hollywood, not everybody knows everybody, and you don't know if somebody, everybody's equally famous, let's say, or degrees of fame, but you don't know who's approachable, who's nice, who's whatever, and there's a comedy kind of celebrity courtesy that you assume you have, where it's like, okay, I'm a celebrity, so when Jerry Seinfeld and Ray Romano are in the same room, there's a certain parody. There is a parody where you can go up to that person versus a plumber walks up to Jerry Seinfeld. He's going to have his guard up and be like, what does this guy want to talk to about? and also you want to think like Ray Romano in real life is a really nice guy. We know that. We've established that. He's visited here. For those of you just joining, Tom Caltabino here, writer on Everose Raymond for all 9 years. So we have an idea to do a gag reel where Ray is really bothered, and I'm going to spoil the surprise here. So Ray goes to everybody at the cast. We're rehearsing, which is awesome because you'll see footage of everybody rehearsing back in 1997, 98. And everybody looks so young and healthy, which is awesome. You see Ray holding a script going, do you guys hear that? Does anybody hear that? Does anybody hear that? And all the cast is going, we don't hear anything. And Ray just gets really angry. He goes, son of a bitch. And he runs off the stage, runs down an alleyway, runs up to George Clooney, who's playing basketball, grabs his basketball and says, hey, we're trying to rehearse, and just walks away with the basketball. So we had to shoot that. And I said, okay, Ray, I was the cameraman. And I said, Ray, here's the idea. Ray and I would do it together. And we had to go up to George and say, hey, George, here's the idea. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then we did it, and we did quite a few takes. And somewhere on these hidden videos, let me see, I had another one. The videos are in oh, here we go. Here we go. Memory lane, everybody. This is from a place called Radio Shack. This is one of the tapes. This is an 8mm tape. Sorry. Okay. That's analog. This is called a mini DV. That's digital, even though it's tape. It's a digital tape. So when I pop some of them in, this one has pixelation sometimes, and this one does not. But this one has half of the resolution. I'm just summarizing so as not to bore you all. Half the resolution of this, but this is riskier, seems to have the riskier the proposition of it not transferring at all. So fingers crossed, everybody, that these old tapes, of which I have almost 200, and I popped them in. I was like, this is such gold. Phil directing, etc. So George did it. George did it beautifully. And you will see that tape as soon as I digitize everything. Okay. So Tom Caltabino here, writer. I reiterate, because I know that some people, we've gotten like a few thousand new followers just in the past few weeks. Okay, let me catch up on comments. Okay. Fly Lady, Linda, you're trying to get the crossword to me. So is that, you want to, it's just a file? Can you put it on Dropbox? Is it a physical, is it a blanket that you've woven? Just a Dropbox if it's a file, I think. Let me just do this. I'm adjusting this a little bit, and hopefully that's maybe a little bit better. Hello, Susan Berry from Jersey. Hello, Gil. How are you today? Oh, I think I have some special tea, Gil. Look at this today. So I don't know if any of you read this language. Do you want to guess what that language is? Okay, it is a tea. Let me see. I'm drinking a tea out of the Nemo mug. Nemo's Pizzeria. Okay, so that tea is very tasty for all those listening. Now, I'm going to say this. This is volcanic tea, black tea with cranberries. Is it crowberries? Crowberries and rose pepper. Okay, if you can see that word pepper. Now, I'm going to reveal something here. I am not fluent, nor can I read that language. However, if the English is written on the back of the box, you seem very smart. And that's what I just did. Does that say crowberries or crawberries? Crowberries. Everybody, does anybody know what a crowberry is? So drinking some tea here out of our Nemo's Pizzeria mug. So yeah, just go to your local store and ask for the Elderflagella tea. There you go. Or can I have some volcanic tea? They have a lot of volcanic activity there in Iceland. For those of you who remember when the airline shut down stuff. All right, here we go. Questions. Yes. So the let's see some hearts if you would like to see the crossword puzzle from Linda. If she has taken the effort to do a crossword puzzle. Who thinks they would do well? We should have a competition. Okay, let me go back. Just curious, Dr. Jones says, who are you in relation to ELR? Okay, a broken record, for those who know. Many of you can answer. So I was a writer on Rose Raymond, but I also took more photographs than any other show in history of television behind the scenes. And I shot probably more footage now that I look at all this footage that I have found. What does this one say? Thursday catch, Tom camera, Saturday. That's a boring one. Okay, here's another one. This one says ELR, the author. So this must be behind the scenes of the author. So this, you never know when I pop in the hour-long tape what we are going to find. Okay, so I recently watched Ray's interview post 9/11 where he talks about the random man he connected with on the street. That sounds, yes. And everyone had dinner with him that night. Did anyone keep in touch with that man? Hi, Paigey Powell. No. Raymond, I asked Ray that not too long ago. For those that don't know the story, we had a DVD release party scheduled in New York City for the release of the brand new version of the DVDs, which had never been out before. And the date of that release party was September 13th, 2001. And the cast flew in with a few other people on September 10th. They went to a Michael Jackson concert. Then they had some pizza. Raymond and Brad Garrett, etc., and Patricia Heaton, and then they were going to the Rosie O'Donnell show, and from the green room of the Rosie O'Donnell show, Peter Boyle and Ray Romano watched the second tower being hit live, and then obviously, we know what happened next. They were staying at Central Park South. At some point, the cast saw this guy, I think he was in a business suit that was covered with ashes and stuff, and they gave Raymond clothes, and he had dinner with them that night. And I think he told Raymond, what is going to be harder to believe, that the Twin Towers were knocked down or that he had dinner with the cast of Rose Raymond. And folks, that's called a joke. For those of you that are like, how dare the man who suffered through that make a joke? So that was that story that happened then. And then I asked Ray not that long ago, did you guys keep in touch? And he did not think so. So somebody might have. But that is an awesome, awesome question. Hello, Massachusetts. Tom, who was the BB owner in the Getaway? Oh, who was the bed and breakfast owner in the Getaway? I don't know. I would have to look that up. I can't even remember the Getaway. I know it's funny because I remember my photos. I have photos of Patricia Heaton in black and white and Raymond outside the door for the Getaway. That seems like, is that a Googleable thing? Okay. Awesome. Okay, let's see. Where are we going now? Scrolling down. Boy, I'm favoring Instagram, and here we are down here. Clocks don't change until next week in the UK. Thank you, Karen. We saw Ray do his stand-up routine. Here, watch this. Susan, we saw Ray do his stand-up routine at a comedy club in New Jersey right before he started on ELR. He said during his routine that he was about to star in a sitcom. He was correct. Susan, where did you see Raymond? In New Jersey, because I know people from New Jersey. I'd be curious where you saw him. I have a couple of guesses. Yes, Susan. Okay, I'm catching up. Susan Stompanato. Susan, I was told that you were sent a fork and spoon. Is that correct? Did you get your fork and spoon magnet? I'll show one on camera. Let me see. I might have one behind the camera. I'm looking. Let's see it. Let's see one nearby. Anytime, no rush. So, hi, Tom. Thanks for coming on. You're always a cheery presentation on a Sunday late afternoon. Ellen, where are you, Ellen? That it is late afternoon. Hello, Melbourne, Australia. Happy early morning. So what I'm referring to is Susan. She ordered the fork and spoon, the custom-made, one-of-a-kind, never to be seen again replica of the fork and spoon that were hanging in Frank and Marie's kitchen, including genuine wooden spoons with, there you go, the grease stains behind the fork and spoon. Delicious because they were all Marie's grease stains. So definitely they will be delicious. There you go. You can even keep them in your RV. That's for my cousin Trish before they fall off. Linda. Okay, now we're doing some business. I have it as a PDF and Excel file, but the files are too large to send via email. I did try to do the zip files, but still too large. I was thinking of printing and scanning and trying to send it that way. Well, let's see now. Linda is talking. Who wants to do a crossword puzzle? I think it would be a big hit, Linda. I'm not saying that for that way. Well, look at this. This is how you bring up the comments. So, well, you could also send a thumb drive. What I'm trying to think is what you don't want is to have something that has to be hand copied or something by a human being when a computer can do it. So maybe we can figure out how to send that. And where are you in Maryland? Somewhere down there, I think. Also, by the way, before I forget, Phil Rosenthal will be in Europe. I think he's going to be there in the end of next week, starting in Amsterdam. So I'm hoping that some of our UK fans get to see him in the UK, where he is. He has got a bunch of dates there. Liverpool. Hold on one second, everybody. I don't want to be a thankless. I don't want to be a shill, as they say, for Phil. But it's not a bad thing. Okay. Couple of photos. Here we go, Philip. It isn't though. Okay, that should not be backwards. Wow, look at the reflection of wires. Come on, going close. Going close. Okay, perfect. Zero focus. Okay, let's see if that does it. There we go. Copenhagen, Stockholm, Oslo, London, Brighton, Birmingham, Liverpool. These are places you guys have heard of in April, March and April, right? And then also here in the UK, okay? You can see some grip gear. That's awesome. Grip head. Okay, so you can look it up on Phil's site, but I hope some of you are able to make it to Phil's show because it is a really, really fun show. He mentions probably a little bit about Everybody Loves Raymond because it is a show. Okay. Will you be able to share some of the footage from the tapes when you convert them? Hi, Karen. You mean, can I come to your house and give them to you, or will I be posting them? Yes. So I have to figure that out because we are hopefully going to be doing a TV special and a thing at the Paley Center in New York City in June. So I have to, hello, Elizabeth Herring. I have to figure out also the copyright stuff. So as you guys have noticed, which you know that I find as a photographer, it's really not so enjoyable to see, but there's been a lot of my photos getting not shared, but taken, cropped down, cropping my copyright out, and which is weird because if you're normal, you could share. Sorry, what I'm looking at here, checking my email. No good messages here. So if you'll notice this, and this relates to 9/11 again, unfortunately, there is a very distinct watermark on there, which I don't enjoy doing, but because a lot of the photos get moved to different sites without them crediting. And I think you need to know, I'm not an egomaniac. I love for people to look at the photos, but it's weird when they cut out the copyright and then take my words and then copy the words and write them in their own. It's a very odd thing. So getting back to Karen in Plymouth, where I've been. Yes, my plan is to share as much of that video as possible. I don't know how much we watermark it so that it doesn't get repurposed. And then we're trying to do, if this TV show comes off, we want to be able to say never before seen footage. And so those are the parameters, but 100%, Karen, you will be seeing stuff because there's too much content for me to keep it to myself. Okay. I hope so. Hi, Henry. Okay, Henry. Let's see what Henry says. Greetings from the Grand Canyon State. Was the checkbook something specific that happened to someone? Because I can see that happening to lots of couples back before there were apps. Also, the end credits for P.P. Raymond had poo-poo Rosenthal as well. Did he poo his pants? Interesting, Henry. You had me right into the last moment. But I know the joke that you were going for. He did not. Philip did not. Philip, they just thought that was funny alliteration and something that a child would do. Okay. Yes, the checkbook episode, which was written by yours truly, was based on a real life thing that happened to Ray Romano. I know I've told the story before. I can tell it briefly again. Excellent questions. Let's see. Yes, I live out. Oh, hi, Susan. Yes, I live outside of Chicago, and my Magnet took a detour of several days in Indianapolis. Wow, that's interesting. That's the second time that that's happened. Hello, Susan. You saw Ray at the Stress Factory. Okay. I didn't want to lead you on, but the Stress Factory is definitely a club that he would perform in, as well as Rascals, which was the bigger club in New Jersey, and then Fort Lee Bananas was there, where they had a full-size banana mascot who I ended up serving on a trial with. He was one of the jurors. The full-size banana was a juror. He did not sit in the jury box dressed as a full-size banana, because that, if you want to get out of jury duty, go dressed as a full-size banana, or any fruit for that matter, I would assume would get you disqualified. Okay, Henry, let me go back to you. Wow, so many good pieces of information. Teresa from Tufano's in Chicago, the world's greatest Italian restaurant that I've yet to visit. Tom, you talk about Susan. So Stompanato, my mother's maiden name is Stompanato. Okay, so Teresa, you left out a P in the first spelling. Is it Stompanato? So that's interesting. Susan Stompanato in Chicago. You're in the Chicago area. Okay. So you married into the family, and Teresa, her mother's maiden name is that. So this is interesting. You guys can pursue it. I want no commission, nor do I want to be pulled into a lawsuit. Okay. So, Henry, the checkbook episode was based on a real life story where Ray Romano and his wife. Yes, thank you, Teresa. I wasn't judging. I just wanted clarity because I have misspelled everything. Over time, Ray Romano worked in a bank. His wife worked in a bank. Raymond liked to gamble. He lost a lot of money for him back then. And he made a fake checkbook, a fake savings book. For those of you that are old enough, there was, in the old days, like a passbook savings. It looked like a passport. And you could see the deposits and here's how much money you have, all this stuff. And Raymond, because he worked in the bank and had access, he was able to fabricate a counterfeit passport savings account book. So Ray's wife in real life, way before it was Raymond, was looking at her account, and she's like, oh, I have whatever the dollar amount, I'm making this up, $15,400. And the bank said, you have zero. And she said, no, I have the book. And they said, well, that's not a real book. That is from your deadbeat husband. I would divorce him immediately because I see no future with a man with that type of problems. However, Raymond ended up becoming a big TV star, and she now does not have to worry that much about money. Okay, but there you go. So Susan Stompanato, I hope you and Teresa can connect. Yes, Susan, I played the Stress Factory right before I moved out to go into New Jersey. Yeah. I believe the woman who checked in Ray and Deborah in The Getaway was an actress named Lynn Milgram. Thank you, Annabelle. Yes, very good. Henry Wang, you would like to be a stand-up comedian, but your comic timing is terrible. Sorry, I'm trying to punch up your post, and that's very unfair of me. What do you do now, Henry? It's never too late. Even if you were, if you were in your mid 80s, you would have to write to that. But you could still get up there and do it because it's really more the hard work and being willing to bomb a lot. Um, yes. Okay. Here we go. Delaware. Sorry, Linda. I didn't mean to insult you. Yes. Okay. Donnell, actress by the owner of the Getaway. More into the external shot for the inn was the Munster House on the Universal lot, according to IMDb. I will have to watch that episode again. Thank you, Donnell. Donnell, big party coming up for you guys, and by you guys, I mean if you know any Irish people. I believe tomorrow is that day, and today I'm going to bring this up and talk about this a little bit. Very funny, Annabelle. My life is a stress factory lately. Very funny. Yes, yes. Henry, my son does improv. You should try that. How'd the Eating Fly episode come about? Okay, so many new people here. Hi, welcome, Sharita. How did the fly? Okay, I will touch upon that in just a second. For those of you, yes, Isabel, St. Patrick's Day in Australia is today, starting today. Okay. I've tried cookies in the past. I'm segueing for a reason. Here we go. The original cookie tin. Yes, that's it, everybody. I will taste a cookie a little bit later, which has been it's been a lot of fun and delicious. In many of the photos that I share, you see a gentleman named Jeremy Stevens. And Jeremy Stevens, today would have been his birthday. He is no longer with us. He was, I believe, the first writer that Phil sent the script to when he finished the pilot. And Jeremy, according to his story, said, he read the pilot, he called up Phil, and he said, we're going to be on the air for 10 years. Now, if you know Jeremy, he's not a guy who was controlling or inserted himself. He got along with everybody. And so that was strictly him saying a vote of confidence. So Jeremy Stevens was a writer on the show for all 9 years. And just a one-of-a-kind spirit of kindness. It looks like I'm reading, but I'm actually looking for a picture of our friend Jeremy. Let's see, alphabetical. I got this. I'll figure this out. Okay, so this, I know you guys have gotten to know, for those of you that have been watching, Tom Caltabiano here, writer on Everose Raymond, who have been watching here and seen behind the scenes of Everose Raymond. There is Jeremy Stevens, okay, with Amy, who you know. She's who Monica's character was named after, Amy. There. Oh, look at that. Yes. So that's Jeremy and Amy. Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy grew up in Brooklyn. He had a very storied career. He was in an improv comedy troupe. I think it was called The Fourth Wall. I know he did The Tonight Show. He was on Broadway. He wrote the movie Summer Rental. He was one of the creators of the Electric Company, which was the educational company. He also wrote for Playboy After Dark when it was going. Yes, Playboy After Dark, after the Electric Company. Quite the diversity there. He wrote on Dear John. I don't remember. Did he write on Coach? Boy, I should really know this. He wrote on many, many things. He was the head writer of Saturday Night Live for one season. And you'll know him from the Sneeze episode. He walks out of the bathroom and watches Ray freaking out. Okay, so I'm scrolling through photos here. Here's a photo at the Christmas party. Okay, there you can see Doris Roberts in the back. And there is Jeremy Stevens. Raymond, there's Doris smiling. Mike Royce next to her. So in many of the photos, and if you know the Sneeze, that you'll know her then. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. There's a good shot that I took of Jeremy. I'll share some of these. Jeremy was a phenomenally nice human being. I will tell this because it's the anniversary. Here you go. Here's a common photo of Jeremy in the moment with Phil doing a note. The audience is behind. You see Lou Schneider, who played Snaps. You see Aaron Shore. There is Patty in character, Monica. There is Brad Garrett, etc. But so Jeremy, I have thousands and thousands of pictures of Jeremy on the set. There you go. Highland Park is a delicious scotch for those of you that partake. There you go. So today, wow, today would have been Jeremy's birthday, and I sent to the writers group, which we all do. Here's Jeremy cutting a cake in the cafeteria. Okay, see you. There we go. I tricked the camera. New York. He had a heavy Brooklyn accent, Jeremy. But Jeremy, two things. Jeremy is the one that said that Hydrox were better than Oreo cookies, and that caused the cookie tasting thing to start, and that's what I'm continuing today. We're almost done with our graphics. This week we'll be at our whole graphic thing to take the clips of the cookie taste. But Jeremy told one of the greatest stories that we ever heard, and it was corroborated by another person in that story. So Jeremy Stevens studied at HB Studios in the 60s. He graduated from Erasmus in Brooklyn. He lived near Ebbets Field. For those of you that don't know, Ebbets Field was a storied old ballpark that the Brooklyn Dodgers played in back in the 40s, 50s, 30s, etc. So Jeremy tells this story, one of the best stories I ever heard. I think when Jeremy and I were writing a script together, we wrote The Lone Baron together. We tried to do everything but right. So we would listen to jazz. Jeremy was a big jazz fan. And so we would do everything but right. And that included Jeremy telling amazing stories. And this story was Saturday Night Live was in trouble. He was brought in halfway through the season. He was looking for a petting zoo for a sketch on Long Island. He was driving with a producer, Joe Piscopo and Eddie Murphy. And this is way before I'm sorry, I'm reading as well. GPS devices or phones, etc. You were stuck with the paper and navigating, much like the Pilgrims did when they left Plymouth. So they cannot find this petting zoo. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip. For those of you that missed, I'm going to take here's how. For those of you that don't know what this is, I will translate as a fluent person. That is volcanic tea, which I'm drinking out of my Nemo's mug. There you go. I have to do a rotation. The Nemo's pizza mug. Available for sale on our ELR360shop.com, as well as that Susan Stompanato just received. Okay. And that is also Teresa's mother's maiden name. Okay. They can't find the petting zoo, so they decide, well, we'll go into this diner. They walk into this diner in the middle of nowhere. They sit down. Jeremy makes his order, and he places his order as Marlon Brando. And Joe Piscopo says, wow, that's really good, Jeremy. That's almost as good as Peter Boyle's impression of Marlon Brando. And Jeremy goes, actually, I taught Peter Boyle how to do his impression of Marlon Brando. And Joe Piscopo goes, basically, you're lying. You didn't teach him that. And Eddie Murphy is going, why would he lie about that, Joe? And so they're having this argument. Jeremy, all of a sudden, a guy comes up to him and says, hello to Jeremy as Marlon Brando. And that guy is Peter Boyle. So Peter Boyle walked in to his local diner and saw Jeremy sitting there and just said, "Oh, let me go over and say hi to my old friend from HB Studios, where we both studied in the early 60s. And since he taught me how to do my Marlon Brando impression, and since I did that on Saturday Night Live as dueling Brandos with John Belushi, I will hit him with that." So Jeremy wins the argument, which is right out of a Woody Allen movie, where Woody Allen has the author right there in line to refute the argument of the pompous blowhard. So, and what Peter said, so I said, "Peter, Jeremy told me this amazing story." And what Peter Boyle said to me is, "Tom, I was just going into my diner and saw Jeremy. Obviously, I don't know what they're talking about. And Eddie Murphy, I don't know who these guys are with Jeremy, etc." So that was the Jeremy Stevens story. And Jeremy had amazing stories that he would tell. And 99% of them were accurate. And there was only one or two that we said, "Okay, Jeremy, this sounds wrong. Let's check it." And the only one that did not check out that he talked about was that a meerschaum pipe was made out of bird feces. Now, right off the bat, you go, well, that seems like it wouldn't be. And so this is all, I mean, the internet was there, but not quite what it is now. So we called up a smoke shop in like Brentwood and said, "Hi." I think Jeremy called him because we're like, "Jeremy, it's not true. It can't be true." And he said, "Hi, can you answer my question?" And of course, he sounded crazy because, in fact, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Meerschaum pipe, is that right? It was not. It is not made out of bird dropping. Sorry. I'm thinking of other Jeremy Stevens stories. Not many that I can really get into because some of them are long and some of them. So there you go. There's Jeremy, always giving notes. Jeremy was a great guy at giving notes. Sorry for the focus problem here and the reflection. If I was, I could post these. I will post a lot of these. But now you know Jeremy. This is one of the favorite pictures I took of Jeremy outside at. He's about to get to stage 5, and we would walk down to get exercise. And there's Jeremy waving to me in the camera. And Jeremy and I went to many, many, many jazz shows together. There's Jeremy after Everett's Raymond smiling. And for those of you that have seen Exporting Raymond, Jeremy went to Russia after they did Exporting Raymond initially, with Phil Rosenthal going over there and getting hurt, insulted, everything else that made all of us writers funny, laughing out loud, because to see Phil that disrespected when we knew how respected he was on the show and how you didn't really you had to treat him with respect because he deserved it. And then you had the wardrobe person in Russia just giving Phil no respect. Okay, so Jeremy went to Russia afterwards, and they ended up doing, I think, over 400 episodes of Everett's Raymond in Russia. So a very long-standing relationship with Everybody Loves Raymond. Okay, let me catch up on some questions. Hello, everybody. UK, it's earlier than usual. Tom Caltabiano here, ELR 360 Live. I was a writer on Everett's Raymond, and I took a lot of behind-the-scenes photos. Okay, so let me catch up here. Yes. Let me see this. Hi. Yes, Isabella. Not Raymond related at all, but we did talk about tea. I'd like to try turmeric. I think there's an extra R in there. Tea. Has anyone tried it? I have not tried it. It sounds terrible. Sorry. It might be delicious, but it sounds terrible. There you go. But it's supposed to be exceptionally healthy. So Henry and Susan, I can't encourage these type of jokes. But they were on the show. I get it. So, touche. You could open with those. You could try and do that. Yes, the Lone Barone was a very, very fun episode to do. Okay, let me go up here to Yes, hello. Do you indulge in Zeppeli for St. Joseph's Day, March 19th? If I could find some, does anybody know what a Zeppeli is that's not from the East Coast and Italian? Um, so, Kim, it is spelled correctly. Um, Great. Good for, okay. That concludes the doctor portion of the Everybody Loves Raymond show. Okay. Um, the fake checkbook episode. Yes, yes. Was yes, that was a fun, that was the first episode that I wrote, because Ray and I wrote the finale for season 1 and the checkbook was season 2, with the silent movie idea. Okay, I think I'm going to take, well, hold on. Let me shift to another form of caffeine. The quotes mug in black. I think it's black. There we go. Some cappuccino. Delicious. By the way, you know what I can show as a treat for you guys? This is really inside. I have been very busy on many, many, many different projects. I haven't seen a lot of people lately. And Raymond, I would go to lunch with Raymond fairly often, in that it was all the time. And let's see here. Let's see here. I went with Raymond to lunch, and somebody did this on a mug. There you go, folks. That is Ray Romano from the internet on a cappuccino in a mug that he drank, and it's very weird to be served. Here he is trying to make a funny face. It's very easy, very weird to be drinking yourself. There you go. Sorry for the lack of stability. I'm trying to get it to focus. There you go. So there you go. That's the fresh, for those of you that, in fairness to people who are saying, oh, and here's Ray and his wife also in cappuccino foam. So for those of you that haven't been following along, I am friends with Raymond. I see him all the time. That's not bragging, but from the outside, you're like, do you ever see him? And yes, not that much in the last whatever, but that was a surprise last week for him to be eating and then have to drink from his likeness. So there you go, folks. That is an inside scoop that you will get no place else. All right, let me catch up here. Did a Marie cookbook ever come out, Paigey? No, it did not. I take turmeric in capsule for my arthritis. Okay. A lot of, you know what? I think it is this, Teresa. I think we all feel like old friends here now because the show feels like family. We've been doing this for over 4 years. Is it 5 years now? Okay. So Teresa, this brings up a big argument that I have with some people who are not, I'm not going to say they're not bright, but people are crullers stuffed with custard. People are crullers stuffed with custard and a cherry. Custard with a cherry on top. There are cannoli stuffed ones too. Okay. Did you... So, Teresa, my friends from the Midwest say you pronounce it crullers. And if you grew up on the East Coast, it's pronounced a cruller. So I don't know if anybody can settle this argument because it has escalated to a point of uncomfortableness. Cruller or crueler? I'd be curious about that vote. Okay. Even though Phil, yes, the lady awaits. Interesting. That is a very nice compliment. Let me read it out loud so I don't sound like I'm just agreeing with something. But yes, even though Phil gave you a hard time being in the way on the set, yeah, he didn't really give me a hard time per se. It's just that you didn't want to be in the way. So it's not like Phil giving me the stink eye all the time and being like, what are you doing out there? It's just that the goal is to make a good television show. The goal wasn't to capture a lot of still images and potentially distract the actors. So, but thank you. You hold the treasure of photo history at ELR. Well done. Thank you. The lady waits. Very nice of you to say that. Zeppeli. Yes, I'm reading it, so it sounds a little bit like non sequiturs as I read this. Kingfish Photo. Hello, Kingfish Photo. I just watched the episode, the pilot, maybe, and Peter did his impression of Brando with Allie. I think you are correct. I mean, I know he did it in the show with Allie, and I think you are correct in the pilot episode as well. Okay, let me catch up here. Wow, too many awesome. By the way, I don't find it obnoxious if you write the question if I miss it, because they all get pushed down. If you write it again, I don't take it as being pushy. I take it as, Maureen Schmidt, you have Zeppelis here in San Diego. I'm going to tell you a funny story about San Diego, Maureen Schmidt. I don't know if I have Zeppelis in LA. Maybe somebody can help. For those that don't know, Zeppelis deep fried dough with powdered sugar on it. How can that not be delicious? I have a friend that lives in San Diego, and Ray was doing a golf tournament, and I went there with him to visit my friend, and there was a rough cut sent of a show. A rough cut means no color correction, no audio correction. It's how the editors cut, and you're only looking at it to go, maybe shave a couple of frames here, take a little bit of here, get off of the shot of Ray earlier because he looks sad when you stay on him. These type of minutia. And so it's really, 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 when you're editing and you're looking at a rough cut, you're looking for different things to fix. Then once you fix them all, then it goes into color correction and the sound mix. So we were staying with my friend, and Ray got a VHS tape, and we watched it in my friend's living room. That's how old this is. Can't remember what the episode was, but we have a picture. I wonder if my friend, did I take a picture of that? A picture of Raymond. Let me think of that date. Hold on. I'm going to try and find it. I'm going to try and find this. I mean, come on, folks. I'm giving you gold. I mean, this is gold that you won't see anywhere else. That a restaurant was so excited to make that, and it was pretty impressive. Raymond was pretty impressive. Okay, hold on. Don't panic, everybody. I'm going to say February, I need the date, 11th, 2025. I might have been in San Diego for something called Kids Screen, and I was staying at my friend's house, and he has a still photo of Raymond in his living room watching the rough cut. Okay, so let's see this. Was it that night? Trust me, it's worth the babbling and the wait. That's not it. I may have to post it later if I didn't take a picture that night. Let me see this. And then I put this here. I do this number here. I hit the same one. I made a mistake. So my friend watched us watching the rough cut. And at the end, you could tell he thought, that is a terrible show. That might be the worst episode of Everybody Loves Raymond that he has ever seen. And in fact, the episode was a really good episode. That's why I wish I could remember it. I could really do the research and back into the timing of it, but he was not used to seeing a rough cut. And folks, you may be in luck. I'm sure that I have a rough cut somewhere in my files that you can watch. Maybe we'll screen it together. Maybe they won't shut us down, which they have been known to do here in YouTube land, where they hear a music cue and then you get shut down. So I told my friend, oh, I think you're responding to the color and the this, and not that he didn't believe me, but it's hard to believe that it has that much effect. And it does. Okay. So there you go. There's a little San Diego story that sorry, when you stick to something and you're like OCD-ish, and you want to take it to the end, even if it's not efficient. Okay, so let me do this. Here we go. This is another way of looking at it. By the way, thank goodness for electronics, because I am able to find stuff. I mean, it just takes me like 2 to 3 hours, but I do find it. No, you're able to sort by location, etc., and it's awesome. Okay. I'm looking. So many other photos. Okay, catching up on questions. Oh, how can the time fly so much? Yes, tumor. Yes. Okay, let me scroll down. Um, I love bouncing the checkbook. Yes, Andy. Yes. How long take to write one episode? Hi, Isabella. This tells me that you are new here. Um, to write one episode took realistically about. I'm leaving out all the steps because I'll do a separate episode. But really, from inception, the checkbook episode, you have to come up with the idea, then you talk about the idea, you figure out what happens in the story, you create a 2-page outline. That could take you a month to get it nailed. And then you have about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, let's say, to write the episode. And then it goes into the writer's room and the writers, it goes to Phil. Phil gives notes. Then you address those notes and then it comes back to the writers. And the writers all have their notes. And then you go over the script in the room. So realistically, to write a killer script that you guys can watch for years and years and years, you're really talking about a total time of 2 months. Can a really good script be written if the story's broken? When you break a story means you're figuring out what happens. That's the more important thing. Even though the words are funny, if the story doesn't work, you're not invested. No matter how funny a scene is, if your story doesn't work, you kind of tune out. You guys know this for every bad movie that you've seen. And you go, I didn't care about the characters or anything like that. Okay, but what about that one gag? Yes, it was funny and it didn't really do it for me. In New York, we called okay, but that's not the pronunciation. A cruller. That's the spelling. I agree with you. Okay, Maureen Schmidt. Cruller, not crueler. Okay, Maureen, I forget already. Where do you live, Maureen? That's how we pronounce it. I believe that is the correct way. The other way is called the wrong way. Those are the people from the Midwest. No offense, Teresa, if you pronounce it crueler. This group is as much fun like a family to me as watching the show every night. It's like comfort food. No matter what else is going on, you can count on a great show, great people, and a warm ambiance. Yes, Linda, you could be writing the promos for us. Doing Exporting Raymond is up and available on Amazon Prime, Pluto, and Freeway. Thank you, Bob, who we can always count on in Hawaii. Is the pronunciation of crawler the new? Oh, it could be. Who invented the lawn? Excellent thinking, Henry. For those of you that don't know, when Deborah's talking about having to listen to somebody arguing about who invented the lawn. If you can't boil an egg in it, it's not a pot. Yes, Donnell, all these great quotes from the show. Outstanding. Let me see. Isabella, you're not new. Okay, so what was the question? Oh, the episodes. There were a few other questions that I don't want to bore people. And if you repeat yourself, you do run the risk of boring people. Susan, you've never heard anyone in Chicago say crueler. So I think it's more Missouri folks. I'm going to say I know some people from Missouri who pronounce it that way, and they're in uniform agreement that it's crueler. Hi, Deb, Tucker, Frank. That's is that a woman's first name and a man's middle name and a man's last name? So one of your names was Tucker, and then Frank. Okay. This is me editing. That's the pregnant pause that you're hearing. In the writer's room, what was the favorite go-to sandwich to be brought in? We didn't really order sandwiches per se. There were sandwiches on the menu. So we had a board. We had a dry erase board of restaurants that we liked, restaurants that we didn't want to go to, etc. And so it made it easier because that was a big decision for Phil. Where's Lunch is the name of a production company. And of course, he did a food show on Netflix, which you can see on Netflix now. Currently, I think there's a new season coming out, and he's on a European tour starting very soon. So the decision of lunch was very important to Philip. And so we would have favorite restaurants, and the only sandwich place was Philip's, no relation to Phil Rosenthal. Philippe's it was, sorry. I got to add that, which is a roast a dip sandwich, French dip sandwich. Am I saying that correctly? Which I found less than, it was delicious, but it just didn't, I don't know. It felt too simple. I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. Hi, Linda. I noticed, let me bring this on. Here we go. I noticed every time the Barones get something from a bakery, it's in a pink box. Although the show takes place in New York, my husband insists that the pink pastry box is a California thing. Linda, that is a great observation. I have never noticed it. I'm gonna have to ask my friend Bobby, the pastry chef, who's in upstate New York, and Rhonda, who had to get all the pastries. Is that a West Coast thing? I don't know. I love having these votes. Okay, I really should. I really should taste a cookie. Donnell, sorry, I didn't see your contract, your comment, and I'm already okay. So for folks, everybody, here we go. Just a little refresher. This is the canister from the canister episode. It was lent to me by Rhonda Robinson, head of props, who you may have seen last week. I try and taste something every week and give my honest opinion. It's obviously biased because I am a person and not a machine. Okay, okay, here we go. This, never seen it, never heard of it. A Ruger. Okay. A Ruger. Let me see. The Reward. The Ruger, the Reward. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Sorry, I'm reading it. Crisp, delicious vanilla wafers, naturally flavored. The Reward, 320 calories, and it's got a metal. What does that say, folks? The something of something 1987. Oh, established 1987. That is not long ago at all. Okay. Someone wanted me to read all the ingredients. Now, if this show became, or whatever this is, if this became Tom Reed's ingredients, then we have a show. We're going to lose some viewers. So there you go, folks. Perfectly blurry. There you go. 3 pieces, 320 calories. If I eat this whole package, there's no bed. There's a lot going on. Okay, now where is this from? Let's see. My guess, let's let it zoom in. Ruger sounds Deutsch to me. Okay. It won't focus. Okay, I'm going to do something called unwrapping. I do need a napkin, I think, or something. Let me see. Or a small plate maybe. So one thing I have learned, yes, Maureen, thank you. Let's see. Okay, so this is a light and airy thing. Okay, let's see. Here we go, folks. It's a light vanilla. This seems like a very common. It seems like it's not the. It seems like a sophisticated level of cookie. Sorry, I'm trying to get. There we go. There we go, folks. The Ruger. Let's see what we got. What did you today? I watched a man chew. Fascinating. Okay. Delicious, right? I'm surprised. These are all good. I haven't had a bad cookie yet. Super light and airy, and a subtle flavor. Let me see. Let me try another one, folks. So I'm going to say it's okay. Yeah, it's vanilla. It's a light flavor. It's light and airy. You don't feel guilty eating it. I don't feel guilty eating any of these. Let me get another one out. Sorry, folks. It's fighting me. Okay, here we go. It's a vanilla. It's just a light and airy snack. I would absolutely order this, eat this wherever. I don't know where I got this from. Thank you, Donnell. Ruger wafers are Austrian. Well, I'm going to give this rating. canister. I'm going to give this a 7.2. That is very tasty. Wow. Surprisingly delicious, because I've only had one disappointing one, and that was, you guys would know this, I forget, there's somewhere around here, but I don't know where. I gotta take a picture of it and post it. Okay, let me wipe the 40 crumbs off of my keyboard. Okay. Koza 899. How were you able to have a new episode once a week when it takes months to do one from inception to finish? Here's how it worked. You are working on, so here on Everyone's Raymond, at the end of season 1, for example, Phil Rosenthal would say, hey, guess what? You guys are all on vacation. And we'd go grab our bags. We go, good. You know what, Phil? I will talk to you in 2 months. And then he would go, before you go on vacation, I need you to come up with a story idea. I need us to break the story, approve the story. And then while you're on vacation, I need you to write a script. And so everyone would go, well, that seems foolish. But what we didn't know is Phil was brilliant, because by sacrificing some of our having to worry about a script in the off season, we showed up June 1st, just like for those of you that know baseball, pitchers and catchers, we show up early. The actors come in 2 months later. We show up with 10 scripts, 10 finished scripts. Oh, let me see. I can't reach the script. So I'll show you a script. It's out of my purview, out of my length. I don't have the arm length to reach the script. Show up with a brand new script and go, Phil, here is genius. And then we would start the season with 10 scripts, okay? 10 finished first drafts. On other shows, you would show up June 1st and you would say, hey, let's start breaking and thinking about story ideas. So we were already 10 shows ahead. So in the meantime, you know that you have to come up with basically 12 more episodes that are going to be shooting at the end of the year. You know, the first of the year, the beginning of the year, the end of the shooting season. So that's how we would do it. Now, some shows could write an episode in one night. It's a terrible way to do a series. One of the reasons that all of the shows, all the episodes of Raymond, you like some, you hate some, but for the most part, you don't hate that many. I know a lot of people don't like Super Bowl, they don't like the janitor episode, and they don't like the annoying kid. And some people love Italy, some people don't like Italy. However, the reason the show is so consistently good is because the episodes were written so far in advance and you had time to tweak and make it work. And then on stage, Phil would go over with the actors, etc. So that's one of the reasons for the consistency. And that's one of the reasons for On Everyone's Raymond, you didn't have those 9 episodes weren't very good. So there you go. That's I hope that answers your question. A very good question. And again, you could we, as a room full of writers, write an entire episode in 4 days, in 1 day? Sometimes they do an all-nighter on certain shows. Yes, but you also want the actors to live with the material. If you're a director, you can't judge the material if the actor hasn't had a chance to read it, digest it, and then know the lines. Okay, so there you go. So here is an episode for those of you that have just joined. This is a shooting script. It's yellow. When you look, this is a shooting script, and this is a filled with, I don't think I have time to do all of this. So what I'm looking at, let's see if you can guess this episode just from that photo, folks. This is a wardrobe Polaroid photo. There is Patricia Heaton. There's both ends of the spectrum. There is robe and dress. Okay, so there you go. I will post a lot of these pictures. Can any of you guess what that episode is? Okay, I'm holding this up again, folks, because this was very good. The Ruger, the reward. I don't know what Ruger means in German. Let's see. Crisp, delicious vanilla wafers. Yeah, they describe it. Now, the color contrast is different than in real life. I will say that. But a delicious cookie. Okay. Yes, Dancing with Deborah. Everybody, right away. Dancing with Deborah. Yeah, it's too easy. I think Yes. Tunnocks tea cake. That's it, Donnell. That was the one that was slightly disappointing. I will try a new one. If you think it might have been stale, I will try a new one. Okay. Annabelle, you've seen Ruger's. Okay, let me catch up. Wow, it's amazing how many comments come in. Okay, here. Andrea, I like this suggestion. The Ruger wafer might be good with a scoop of ice cream. Yes, these are excellent. Wafer cookies are the communion host of desserts. Yes. Let me see. Hi. Okay, Bob Silva. You will give you an award for this. It's mental health food. Never read the ingredients. Yes. Yes. Yes, I would agree. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just going. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Domestic dispute there. I'm kidding. So I will keep you posted. People are asking. Thank you. Thank you, Donnell. Keebler makes a good wafer. I will keep you guys posted on the potential for a reunion. And for folks that are confused, a reunion is not a remake. A reunion is a bunch of people hanging around talking about how great the show was. A remake is brand new scripts and a brand new setting. And without Frank and Marie, it would be very, 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 very hard to make a show. You know, you're in a weird place. You'd have to make really a new show, and it would be tough. So this would be what we've been doing for 5 years here, just talking about the show, only this would be produced with a big budget of hundreds more dollars than I do it by tasting cookies out of a can. So I will keep you posted. Right now, it looks like it could happen, but it's TV and stuff goes away very quickly. But fingers crossed, everybody. Okay, final questions before we go. What? Oh my goodness, look at the time again. Yes, you are welcome for me answering your question, Koza. I used to house those Rugers from the vending machine. I was stationed in Germany back in the 80s. Cryptic Archer. Or is it Cryptic Archer? That seems more sense. English is one of my main languages also. I used to have those Rugers from the vending machine when I was stationed in Germany back in the 80s. Interesting. I guess they've been, well, yes, but it's weird. They established 1987. It's weird. That's a very weird thing, especially for an Austrian company, which, I think Austria developed the coffee culture or the cafe culture. I think so. So that was in the 1700s, maybe. So I'm surprised that they put established 1987 so prominently, because you always think that it could be a much later date. All right. Have I missed anything? The script, Dancing with Deborah, everybody guessed that. We've had a little bit of cappuccino. We had some delicious volcanic tea. For those of you that are from Iceland, this will make you feel more comfortable. The Eldajala tea, perfect mispronunciation. And hold on. That was very good. Hopefully, Teresa and Susan Stompanato get together and figure out if there's any type of genetic tie there or any type of relationship. If there was a reunion show, I guarantee you it probably would be next fall. That's this fall. So if it even happens, folks, I know as little as possible. So, but I will let you know any information I get, any cutting news, any really, really relevant information. I am your source, and I will keep you up to date, up to speed, just like I did with your friend Raymond, drinking from the Raymond cup of tea. Tea and coffee it was, to be honest. All right, everybody, have a good week. I will share. Yes, Jamie, I just started reading Doris's book. What are some Christmas gifts you got and brought? For next time, let's put a pin in that because we are way, 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 way over time. here as I scroll down. Goodbye, Annabelle. Goodbye. Family reunion at Tofano's. Yes, there you go. That's a good thing. I would love to do a Raymond reunion at Tofano's. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Keep the spread the word about this channel. Any Raymond fans, and I know that there's a lot of sites out there that are not so good, which is disappointing. But point people in this direction. I will see you guys next week. Write all your comments. We try and write them down and try and address them. There was one that I forgot that we were going to address today, but we'll save it for next week. Okay, everybody, have a good week. I will see you then.